Hey guys, I'm Little Artiman and welcome to my channel, and today I decided to make a video a little bit different than usual. I won't be talking about shows or movies this time, but I'll still talk to you about a story. As you read on the title, today I'll walk you through part of the process of fleshing out your ideas for a fictional world. Hopefully this will be helpful for your stories and also fun to watch. So don't forget to leave a like and subscribe too, and let's get started with the video. So today I'll be showing you the steps with the help of a story I'm working on. That way it's easier to show you all the steps, and I'll also figure some things out while doing this. But let's get to the steps. The first thing you need is an idea, a concept. It can be anything and for anything. You may want to build a complex futuristic world with robots for a game, or a wholesome cute magical world for a short movie. That part is completely up to you, and it's honestly the part where you can pick anything even if you think it won't make sense. That's a problem for the future steps. The idea I'll be showing you for this video is a magical world that will be focused on a school story. So the characters will be students and there are no humans, only a few different species. So after having the main idea for the universe, it's important to start fleshing things out. You can approach this in a lot of different ways, but there are three main things to do, some more important than others. The first one is to start writing it down. You don't have to write it perfectly, there are no grammar rules in here. I like to write on my phone because sometimes I get ideas about stories and I just need to write them down or else I'll forget. And because my phone is pretty much always close by, I just write it there. And it is very chaotic in this stage, so then I usually either just rewrite it on my phone or move it to my computer and write it there. But you can also just have a notebook with you all the time. I have one for sketching that is very small and is always on my backpack. So if you prefer to write on paper, just remember to be ready all the time, because the good ideas come in the most random moments. I can't even count how many times I'm in bed trying to fall asleep and suddenly I just figure out answers to the lore of one of my stories. Yes, it does mean that sometimes when I wake up I don't know what I wrote because that's just random words written down, but it is a fun exercise to try and figure out what I meant. But anyway, another thing I like to do is sketch out the concepts and ideas. You can also make mood boards with images to help you visualize the vibe of the world. But the drawings don't need to be masterpieces, so if you don't think your skills are enough to draw it exactly as you'd imagine it, don't worry. These sketches are just to put your ideas in the paper as a guide. I did sketch out a few faces of the characters in this universe, just to have fun with it, and while drawing you're visualizing things in your head and on the paper, so sometimes it triggers ideas to the overall lore. For example, in this magical universe, one of the species that goes to school are witches, and I decided they can have a number of eyes from 0 to around 10. It's not set in stone yet, but it's just an idea. And I did this because while I was drawing a portrait, the eyes ended up being a little bit lower on the face, so I decided to draw another set of eyes above it. And after those basic ideas were put in front of me, it's where the third step comes in, and that is the questions. I had a lot of those, like does the number of eyes relate to their power, and can it be asymmetrical or is it always evenly distributed? And does that also relate to their power? Or beauty standards? Or is it the number of eyes an hereditary trait that they get from their parents, or is it random? And a lot of other questions. Some of them I'm still trying to figure out, but it is very important to ask all the questions to avoid plot holes. These were just some that I had about witches in specific, but I have more about the magic system, the other species, the school, the society, fashion, just about everything I can remember. This way it feels more real and it helps to make things make sense. And in homage to MatPat, it's all about the lore. And of course, this is about fleshing out the general universe of your story, but I think it's important to keep in mind a balance on what you're working on. Let's look at the story I gave you as an example. The main focus will be the school, the characters and their families and friends. So I'm fleshing out things that are relevant for that, and when it comes to the world I'm focusing on the bigger picture only. For example, in this world there will be different animal species, but I won't make an encyclopedia with every single animal species. Same with history, I'll flesh out a little bit of the relevant parts because it may impact the story directly or they may learn about it in school. But I don't need to flesh out everything since like dinosaur time. I don't even know if there are dinosaurs, but it doesn't really matter. Just take into consideration our real world. I have a lot of knowledge about my family traditions, for example, and how things work here. I also know how my country works, generally speaking. I know what the school system is like, I know a lot of the costumes, a good part of the history I would say, and I have a good idea of the animals in different places and accents and language, legends, myths, cultural things. But I don't know how those things work in every country. I may have some ideas, but definitely not with the same depth. Other knowledge I have about the world is, for example, science stuff, but I couldn't build a rocket ship, for example. So I think that's the balance needed. The main focus of the story is like your bubble that you know everything about basically, and the rest of the world is gradually more vague depending on how important and relevant it is for the story. And I would say that's the more time consuming step besides actually making the book or game or movie or whatever the final story will be portrayed as. But it's also one of the most important, if not the most important part, because if you don't know how the world works, your characters may feel out of place and the storyline too. And speaking of characters, you can create them at any stage. Sometimes you have a story idea because you thought of a specific character you'd like to write about. But when you have your world figured out, you should take a look at your characters and tweak them where needed to make them fit the world. Or the other way around, sometimes you will change the lore to fit better to your characters. As long as you have these two parts of the story side by side in the final stages, then everything should feel coherent. And if you'd like a video like this about the character creation part, you can tell me, I could try to make it. I'm not a pro at writing, I'm not an expert at all, but these are the steps that have been working for me for my personal projects. I hope they help you at least a little bit, and if you're curious, the speed paint of the background is just me exploring a few concepts of the characters on this story. I'm sketching out the other species too, so there are the witches, and then there are demons, shapeshifters and specters. I'm still indecisive if this will be a regular school story with just the school drama or if there will be a more dangerous plot going on. Like on the Owl House, for example, we have some of the characters' drama, but then there's a bigger thing going on with Bellows that affects and involves the main characters. I'm still on the asking questions stage. Then the only thing you should do before starting the final piece is to make the sketch, basically. Just write down a summarized version of the story, write what will happen from start to finish, and then take a good look at everything. Take it all in and start working on your story. There will be adjustments you'll make during that part, and it's good to keep it flexible to change so that it suits your liking. But having everything figured out is very important. Most of the stories that I started writing when I was younger never went anywhere because I didn't plan. I knew where it started and I knew a couple of moments in the story and how it would end, but nothing else. And so they would fall apart very quickly. But right now, even if I'm taking my time, I feel like I'm progressing and getting somewhere. A lot of work ahead, but there will be a prize in the end. So thank you so much for being here today. I know it was a little bit of a different video, but I appreciate the time you spent here with me. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and comment down below if you're also writing something. Or if you have any tips, I would appreciate them very much. Don't forget to subscribe, more videos on Wednesdays and shorts every day. So thank you again for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!